Let's try that again. Welcome in everyone to the 2021 Knoxville Showdown. Alex Gruskin of Cracked Rackets could not be more excited for the return of college tennis here, start of the 2021-2022 season. I know for some of these teams, they're still in their first week of practices together, and of course, we'll get into all of those details moving forward. But of course, let's set the scene first. We have a phenomenal fall invitational. It's the hidden duel format. What does that mean? All of these matches individual. We're not playing one school versus the other. It's a friendly here, as all of these players try to find their footing, find their sea legs as we approach the dual match season in January. Now, we've got four, I will say it, of the top 25 prospective teams here in this 2022 season competing this weekend. That starts with our host, Tennessee, left things off NCAA semifinalists in 2021, bring back the majority of the cast of characters that helped them towards that success. They're going to take on Pepperdine, of course, a West Coast powerhouse later today, but on court right now in front of you, perhaps the most interesting storyline entering the 2021-2022 season. What do top 10 recruiting classes the past 3 seasons for the Columbia men's tennis team? We've seen them as a constant presence at the national indoors. Baylor, the last 3 seasons they've competed, obviously Baylor ended 2021 as your national finalists. We get to see the Lions compete back on court this weekend. And again, with all of that talent, after not getting to see any Ivy League school, but them in particular during that 2021 season, fascinating to watch them play today in their morning matchup where they taking on one of the best stories of the 2021 season, the rising program in Lexington, the Kentucky Wildcats. Of course, that rise propelled forward by the rival of the number one player in the nation, Liam Draxel. Such a phenomenal freshman season. Now, there's no Draxel here for the Wildcats this weekend. No Hurrian as well as you look for this team. Dylan Hurrian coming off of a final at a feature last week, but still a bunch of fun players competing up and down the board. And again, what is this hidden duel format? We're going to play a bunch of doubles rubbers first, then we'll get into our singles action. All of these matches individual again. And if we can, super producer Daniel Westoff, and I'm still figuring out my court arrangement here. First time for me in Knoxville. Very excited to be here. I've watched this stream oh so many times, but if we can, Westoff, let's go to court number 1 right now. And that is, in fact, where we are. Really fun battle on our hands. Now, of course, we've got a double blue situation here, Wildcats versus the Lions. Double cat situation, I suppose, as well. In the darker shade of blue is your Kentucky Wildcat men's tennis team serving for them right now. Gabriel Diablo, Jr. out of Montreal, partnered today fifth-year transfer out of Old Dominion, Francois Musatelli. Diallo, one of the breakthrough stars of last season. Finished his year extraordinarily strong. 12-6 at the 2 singles position, NCAA tournament qualifier. Of course, his partner, as mentioned, transferring over from Old Dominion. Solid campaign for Musatelli last season, but certainly he's looking forward for his chance to wear that K on his chest. Of course, on the far side, or near side, I suppose, depending where you are, in the light blue for the Columbia Wildcats. Interesting team. And I'll get into the story for all of these players, but you've got uber talented sophomore Alex Cutson partnering today. First year, Hugo Hashimoto. Hashimoto rocking the backwards hat on the deuce side. Wildcats hold. We're 1-all here. Is interesting before we hop around courts. And of course, we are going to work our red zone format into today's matches. Try and show as much of all of these players as we can, particularly with Columbia, as so many of us are trying to get our first look at what this roster actually looks like. But it was fascinating just talking to Columbia men's tennis head coach Howard Endelman, who, of course, former standout player for Columbia himself back in the mid to late 80s. See a second serve coming here from the freshman Hashimoto. But was talking to Coach Endelman and said, look, Alex, quite frankly, we view this season as we have 8 different freshmen on the roster, and he's correct. Of course, 2020, 2021, not only the Ivy Leagues not compete in sports, but for Columbia in particular, their students weren't allowed on campus. Coach Endelman, this is day 3 with essentially an entirely new roster. Ooh, tell you what though, I like the game of Hugo Hashimoto. No shame there, no fear. Taking that forehand big. The net player in Musatelli. 40 love here in the service game of Hashimoto. Columbia holds 4-2-1 here on court number 1. If we can, Westhoff, let's go to court number 2 now. And new players going to be the theme. Can I discuss these Columbia Lions? Currently serving for them again in the light blue, the powder blue. That's Joko Horvat, sophomore out of Zagreb, Croatia. But again, another one of those first years. And can you imagine that? As unfortunately, Horvat gets broken. But imagine you're a freshman, and let's say you're from America, you get into Oxford, which is the equivalent of what he did. And that first semester at Oxford, that first full year of college, you can't even leave your home. You're stuck attending Oxford in America. That was the case for Horvat, stuck in Croatia, attending Columbia. Interesting note about this Kentucky team. Far side for them now serving up 2 love. The duo of Lapadat and Mercer. Look, Joshua Lapadat, sophomore out of London, Ontario. He's the guy, shaved head at the net, serving. Some of you may be familiar with, but in a different color. Jay Mercer, former Ohio State player, transferring to the Wildcats here this season. See the nice hands from Lapadat there. It's been a while for all of these players just to get back on court, get those competitive instincts renewed. Interesting more so than the result. I know these coaches are looking for execution here early in the season. Are you sticking to your plays? Are you communicating openly with your partner? Is the chemistry there? This is obviously going to be rusty for all of these players. So we see here, again, for this duo, Mercer, Lapadat, far side of your screen. Now the duo, Finkelstein, Horvat. Love that from Mercer. Early appeal to the chair umpire. Dare I say, first one of the 2021-22 season. Just a little bit stray there. So still 40-30. And just a reminder, again, hidden duel format, but similar format to the one we're familiar with here in the college tennis realm. Double sets, no ad, up to 6. Tiebreaker at 6 all. Of course, again, as each match is individual, there's no doubles point per se. Mercer, Lapadat get the hold for 3-love here on court number 2 with that in mind. Super producer Daniel Westhoff, if we can, I'm looking across the board. Let's go next to court number 3. Work our way up and down. We'll start with the Kentucky duo at number 3. See them serving on the near side, or in the dark blue, I should say. Of course, that's on the near side of your screen. Alexander LeBlanc, 6'5", junior out of Montreal. Serving at the net. He's partnering today. Easy Chen, junior, Taiwan. Duo trail by an early break, 1-3. This is another one of those interesting teams for Columbia as you look at the roster. Henry Ruger, first year last season, obviously didn't get the chance to go on campus compete, but he is a former chip recruit, 5-star. Tennisrecruiting.net was ranked as high as number 22. Gold ball doubles champion. His partner, Teo Wingard, Sarasota, Florida. Again, ranked as high as 11th in the nation in his recruiting class. The talent is there for Columbia. We just haven't seen them compete in a while, so it's going to be fascinating here to see. Already built a love 30 lead here. In the serve swing of LeBlanc. Love 40. Splits the middle. 13:40 here in the service game. The Kentucky sophomore, Alexander LeBlanc. A little eager there. Nevertheless, that's the sort of shakiness that comes after an off season. That's why we're here this weekend, folks. 2 break points fought off for this Kentucky duo. Can they fight off numbers 3 and 4? So remember, here in college tennis, no ad scoring, that deuce point, game point, but also a break point. 30-40 point coming. Really nice serving from LeBlanc. Helps to be 6'5", huh? See a couple of 6'5" players plus Medvedev, Alex Zverev, that are both 6'6" technically. Meeting later on today in New York at the U.S. Open. I know Columbia assistant head coach Richard Bonfiglio was there yesterday, as they've got their freshman Max Westphal still alive in the quarterfinals of singles at that event. Rich got in last night, I want to say 12-1. Watching Max play, I know Samir Banerjee, junior Wimbledon champion, is committed to Columbia. I know for NCAA rules purposes, there's still some outlining of what they can and can't do, but certainly your assistant coach, Rich Bonfiglio, you want to be there supporting your guys. So it's a quick transition for him from New York here down to Knoxville. Imagine it's a few degrees cooler here right now than it is there. It's about a solid 60-degree start to our day. Should only get warmer as things heats up, as our action heats up. And now we see again, near side of your screen, all sophomore duo Kale Wingar. Serving. And Ruger, his partner there again. It's a really nice hold for the Lions here. 4-2. They lead by a break. Still on court number 3. If we can, Westhoff, let's go to 4. The Columbia duo there has also built a break point lead on court number 4. See the duo Templeman, coach here out of Springville, Utah. Partnered with Ishan Ravichandar, sophomore out of New Jersey. Chanda currently at the net. Serving far side of your screen. 40 love for them. 4 break game points, excuse me, as they try to consolidate their 3-2 break lead. near side of your camera competing for the Kentucky Wildcats. The duo, Yasha Zemel, sophomore, Israel. And play with Jonathan Sorbo, redshirt junior out of Canada. And you see a lot of Canada ties on this Kentucky roster. Starts up top with Liam Draxel. You then get to the Sorbos, the Blancs, Lapadots of the world. Dalu out of Montreal. Of course, clearly that's the trend you want to be going in, given the fact that you see Felix Auger-Aliassime, 21-year-old Canadian, into the semifinals of the U.S. Open. Leylah Fernandez, 19-year-old Canadian, into the finals of the U.S. Open. We're not talking juniors, folks. We're talking the pro events, whatever they're doing development-wise up north. Take some notes, please. And here, 3-2, 40 love has become 40-30 for these Wildcats. 3 consecutive unforced errors from the duo Templeman. Chandar. Columbia gets the hold. 4-2. They maintain their lead. They're on 4. Meanwhile, again, now serving for the Wildcats. The duo of Zemel. Sorbo, you look for these two players last season for Zemel. 7-6 overall in singles, played primarily 5 and 6 position. Sorbo limited action in singles, was 3-0 on the year. In his 3 matches he played, had to keep it to 5 and 6. Bunch of different combinations tried for the Wildcats last season in doubles. Zemel was a part of a couple of them. On point. This talented Columbia duo. And that's my first impression through the first 10 minutes. They can compete, and they can compete everywhere. Talent here. Question is, again, match experience. How do all 6 of them play together at once? That's the question, Coach Endelman, Coach Montevideo trying to figure out here this weekend. Above 30, though. 2 points away from taking the set. We now see it. Quadruple break point. This feels like a match point, essentially. Let's see with Zemel. We can, Westhoff. Can we go to court 2 quickly? We have a match point. First match point here of the afternoon. I do apologize. Able to fight off match point, get a hold. They're on the board here at 2, but at 2 doubles, it has been entirely a Wildcat dominance. Al, again, JJ Mercer partnered Joshua Lapidat. All these guys have played a season of college tennis, just the aggression with which they play. They get 2 up very quickly. Meanwhile, their opponents, Finkelstein, Horvat, a little bit more singles oriented still at this point. Nice scoop from Mercer there. It's a half volley type ground stroke. Did see a result off the board. Columbia duo at number 3 doubles. Ruger and Winigar. 6-2 set they take over LeBlanc and Chen. Good first rep for the young Columbia first-year Ruger. First year in Winigar as well. It's always a nice way to kick off your college campaign. Here, Columbia sticking alive on 2, 15-30. And a couple of returns just deep into the body of JJ Mercer. But that's bread and butter. Too easy there for Mr. Lapidat. Puts that ball away. 30 all. And coming up after this, a bunch of fun singles matches. All these players, all these coaches just trying to up the repetition count here early in the fall. That's Mercer's ability to just take that first volley. That ball low. Feet of the Columbia players. Well, Lapidat at the net. Set point, match point, coming up on the serve, JJ Mercer. That's just a fun point all the way around. It starts with another half volley-esque ground stroke from Mercer, just scooping that ball up off the baseline. Lapidat got the put away he wanted, just again, a little bit choppy on that ball. Triple threat here. Match point. And it goes the way of Mercer and Lapidat. In the end, the Kentucky duo 6-1 wins over the team of Finkelstein and Horvat of Columbia. That leaves us 2 courts of action left. Let's go to 4 if we can right now, Westup. Looks like we've got a match point coming up for Columbia. Ravi Chandar serving near side of your screen, 40-30, 5-2. Yeah, that'll do it. Good setup for his partner, Templeman. Ravichandar Templeman, 6-3 set over Zemel and Sorbo of Kentucky. Down 1 court left before we get into our singles action. That's court number 1, where we're on serve right now. Diallo, Kelly, Now it is Gabriel Diallo and the junior out of Montreal serving near side of your screen. Now Columbia duo Katzen Hashimoto. Super talented duo for Columbia. But again, two guys we did not get to see compete last year. Very excited to see what they do. Oh. Really nice return down the line. 15 all here. Than last year for Diallo. Played the number 1 doubles position, Cesar Bourgeois. Ball now gone. Les Diallo stays at the top flight today. On court 1, I should say. The Old Dominion transfer, Musatelli. .30 here. Game point coming up for Gabriel Diallo, 40-30. That's nice. That will play for Gabriel Diallo. Big ace. It's the whole 4-5 all here on court number 1. Fun early season action. Knoxville Showdown. Top 25 teams, I would argue, in the country here competing. Yeah. Columbia and Kentucky on your screen right now. Columbia in the darker blue. Kentucky in the darker blue. Columbia in the powder blue. What? I will be keeping my eye on Hugo Hashimoto. The first year, Columbia splits the middle. Blue-chip recruit. Top 5 national 2020, 2021. ITA USTA Boys Doubles National Hardcourt Championships in 2019. Champion and the 16th event, earning wild card to the US Open Juniors. Hashimoto serving again, far side of your screen. It's good stuff. Good stuff from Alex Kotzen, sophomore out of New York. Just cleans it up at the that, of course, you look for Gotson, a sophomore who did have the opportunity to play a few matches in that 1920 season. 17-6 overall that year. They get the hold 4-6-5. Look at this Columbia program, where they left things. We're 7-3 when the pandemic hit in 2021. Qualify for the national indoors by coming down here to Knoxville, Tennessee. So perhaps there is some beautiful poetry in the resumption of their campaign beginning here in Knoxville in 2021. But that weekend, beat Oklahoma State, beat an upstart Tennessee team that ended up making obviously some pretty big noise last year. Lost a 4-3 match with eventual national indoor semifinalist Michigan. They go to the indoors, lose to Florida before beating South Carolina, beating Baylor. And for Coach Howie, his first 2019, I want to say was his first season, if not then 2020, 1920, taking over. Long time. Columbia head coach, Big Farm. See a little bit of turbulence. That return on the body of his Kentucky opponents. About 15 here in the 5-6 service game. For Kentucky, you see it though. Big serve out wide from Musichelli. Fifth year team for this at Old Dominion. New coach with Bonfiglio. Push forward on this return to his players. Ditto. Kentucky players, but it's just the twitchiness right now to Hashimoto. You forget what it's like for a freshman to play their first college tennis match, and then you get to come here and actually see it. Gives you goosebumps, folks. 15-30. Tell you what, this is any indication, folks. Columbia team can play a little bit. 6-5 now, 50-40, triple match point. Their players to have won 3 of our 4 double sets here to kick playoff at the Knoxville Showdown. A little bit of cheering from the Kentucky bench. Our first blue and white chant of 2022. I love it. Still 30-40 though. 2 match points to fight off for the Wildcats. Wow. Fun point to end things, both. Hugo Hashimoto, the first player out of San Jose with the blistering cross-court forehand pass. He and his partner, Alex Kotzen, closing out a 7-5 set on court number 1 over tempo of Diallo and Francois Musatelli. That will do it for our doubles action. 3 sets going the way of Colombia. Again, they earn a 7-5 victory on court number 1. Also, Ruger Winigar. 6-2 win over LeBlanc and Chen. Templeman and Ravachanda. 6-2 win over Zemmel and Sorbo. I suppose bit of a silver lining for the Kentucky coaching staff. They did get a strong performance on court 2 from Lapadat and Mercer. But again, that will do it for our singles action now. We've got our doubles action now. We've got 10 singles matches to go here in a fun fall fest, I suppose we'll call, between Kentucky and Columbia. Teams assembling right now as they get ready to head out to court. Of course, we will be back to cover each of those 10 matches, indoors, outdoors, you name it. We'll be watching it, calling all of the action here. Again, this is our first of 2 matches on the day. We've got Kentucky taking on Columbia now. Tennessee going to take on Pepperdine later this afternoon. Should be a fantastic weekend of tennis here at Tennessee. But for now, going to take a quick 3-minute break. You've been watching the 2021 Knoxville Showdown. Welcome back, everyone, to the 2021 Knoxville Showdown. Alex Gruskin of Cracked Racquets, too excited for the return of college tennis and extraordinarily excited for the return of Columbia tennis in particular. We didn't get to see the Ivy Leagues compete during the 2020-2021 season. Of course, that was due to the COVID-19 pandemic, but I'll tell you what, first sign of them in competition here in 2021-22, they looked excellent. They win 3 double sets in the doubles matches they play against Kentucky opponents. Of course, again, the format here this weekend, the hidden duel format. What's that mean? None of these are dual matches. It's not Kentucky versus Columbia. It is Kentucky players competing against Columbia players. No team format, everything individual. We're just trying to find our sea legs here, trying to get in rhythm as we approach the 2021-2022 college tennis season. Of course, you look up and down the lineups for both these teams. More familiar is for the Wildcats than you have for the Columbia Lions. You look for Columbia. They have 8 different players who did not get to experience a single match of match play in 2020 or 2021 because, again, they've got that group that were freshmen last season, and then they've got the group that were sophomores this season and that are freshmen this season. And so, again, it's 2 groups of play that really don't have much college tennis experience. So I'm sure Coach Howie, Coach Rich, after looking at that result in doubles, they will be happy with the way their team competed at the very least. But now we transition into our singles matches. And of course, as always in college tennis, same format here in the singles. You've got 2 out of 3 sets, no ad scoring. It's up to the players, the coaches, to decide whether they're going to play a third set tiebreaker on any given court or play a full third set, again, given the stated theme, trying to find your sea legs, trying to get some match play under your belt. It would not surprise me at all if most of these coaches elect to play that full third set. But again, I believe we've got 10 singles matches going on right now, 6 here outdoors. I believe we've got 4 indoors, a couple of Pepperdine players coming to get some repetitions as well, some extra matches. So we'll pop over to that indoor site when we can. But for now, we start out here on court number 1, rematch of what we saw in doubles. Gabriel Diallo, talented junior, qualified for the NCAA tournament last season. He's taking on Alex Kotzen, one of those few players on the Columbia roster with experience. Kotzen got to play a couple of matches, 2019, 2020, before unfortunately that season canceled by the emergence of something at the time seemed very, very minimal. Obviously, we've learned since then it is not, but you talk about for a guy like Kotzen, imagine, again, having a full year of school taken away from you. And for particular, at least for these Kentucky athletes, the majority of them, they got to be on campus. May not have been a full year, but it was a year in 2021. Kotzen didn't get to step on campus. No in-person classes for Columbia, no in-person summer stuff. So again, it's going to be interesting to see how the uber-talented, now third year, competes against the big serving Diallo. Serving on the far side of your screen here. Of course, again, Diallo, the breakout players for this Kentucky team, helped lead them to that impressive 19-8 finish they earned last season. Mentioned this during his singles, but for Gabriel Diallo, 14-7 overall in 2021. Majority of that came at the number 2 singles position, where he was 12-6. Of course, Gabriel Diallo became the 7th player in Kentucky program history last season to earn All-American honors in both singles and doubles play in the same year. It's going to be counted on this season. Of course, as they work to figure out who 2, 3, or 4, 5, 6 singles are. They know their top two for a lot of the season, especially against that top SEC competition. Let's be clear. This Kentucky team will go as far as Liam Draxler and Gabriel Diallo take them. And for now, Diallo holding serve, responding, 1-all here on court number 1. Let's watch one more service game of Kotzen before we move along. Because that's the question for this Columbia team. There is no, I'm dating myself here, no Winston Lynn from the early to mid 2010s, who was top 10 player talent and a guy who went on to have some pro success. Or at least if there is on this roster, we don't know about it yet. There's no Victor Pham, who was just the obvious, top 5 guy, had the huge All-American result before the season started. And some of the other guys, the core, that institutional knowledge. A guy like Jack Lynn, so good during his years. He's gone, unfortunately, didn't get the ending his college career deserves. Of course, a guy like Jackie Tang, same deal. You do still have some guys, of course, around as Kotzen here. 40 Love, he was on that team that made the indoors and came here to Kentucky. Got a win in 2020. But again, lots still to learn, lots of data to absorb, analyze about these Kentucky Lions. One data piece we've learned thus far, Alex Kotzen has brought the goods here down to Knoxville. On serve, he holds 2-1 here on court number 1. If we can now stop, let's go to court number 2. Introduce the rest of our cast of characters now. Look here on the near side of your screen. Again, we saw him play on court 1 in doubles. We see him play next to his doubles partner, Gabriel Diallo, here on court number 2. It is the transfer graduate student from Old Dominion out of France, Francois Musatelli. I should say Francois Musatelli, with my accent whenever possible. He gets the hold. He draws the error from Alex Finkelstein. Finkelstein, first year from Massachusetts. Come back and check on this court a little bit later. In the meantime, let's go to 3. Continue our course up and down the lineup. Up and down these courts, excuse me. Right now we see and Uga Hashimoto, freshman out of San Jose, earns the break of serve now. His opponent, Joshua Lapidat, did not love the call on that far sideline. I will say from my angle here in the commentator's booth, it looked just a hair or so wide. What I will tell you, or Hashimoto, gets the break back for 1-all here on court number 3. And just to read the recruited class rankings for this Columbia program over the past 6 seasons. Now, 2016, they ranked 9th. That was the aforementioned recruiting class with Jackie Tang and Adam Ambrosi, Alex Kaiser, that nucleus that had so much success in the Ivy Leagues. I believe in the past decade, they've only lost one Ivy League title. That year they split it with Dartmouth, Harvard, Dartmouth beating Columbia that year. Racquets super producer Max Fligner. Critical victories over Adam Ambrosi in that match. Apologize if it's a sour spot for any of you Columbia fans watching, but always got to plug the super producer when possible. 15-30 now for Hashimoto, who was part of a number 4 ranked recruiting class for the Lions in 2021. And again, him, Finkelstein, Templeman, Max Westphal, currently competing in those U.S. Open Junior quarterfinals, number 4 in the nation as a recruiting class. Last year was Ravichandar, Wingar, Ruger, Horvath, 2 blue chips and 5-star, comprising of the number 4 recruiting class. See the ball yanked wide from Lapadance. Love 30 becomes 30 all. Year before that, 16, couple blue chip, couple 5-stars, 4-star in the mix. 2018, only 1 recruit, Ben Golan, still on the roster, was a 5-star, but again, that's a lot of talent this Columbia team has assembled. 30 all here point. Traded 2 breaks thus far on court 3. Tell you what, that's very, very nice forehand. And in terms of the things you can learn in person that perhaps you can't see as clearly on the screen, of all of the sounds I'm hearing, contact points, ball coming off the racket. I'd say the Diallo serves the most explosive thing I've seen thus far. And then whatever's coming off the racket of Hashimoto is number 2. Super impressed by the freshman out of San Jose. 2 game points here to hold 4-2-1. And folks, just like that, Ugo Hashimoto gets his first hold of his college tennis career. 2-1 now here on court number 3. With that in mind, if we can, super producer Daniel Westhoff, let's go back to court number 2. Alex Finkelstein, 5-star freshman recruit out of Massachusetts. Deuce point hold for him on court 2. He takes on graduate student out of Old Dominion for Kentucky, Francois Musatelli. Perhaps you can see corner of your screen on the orange bench. Long white sleeve shirt, Kentucky shorts. Assistant coach Matthew Gordon for the Wildcats. I know Coach Gordon got married this past summer. Mazel tov to him. Of course, was I a little salty I didn't get invited? Definitely a little. I don't know if Matt invited everyone of the students he once coached at Saddlebrook many moons ago, but you'd think he'd invite one of his favorites in me. Nevertheless, though, I know he, Coach Kaufman, volunteer assistant coach Peter Kobelt, was a standout at Ohio State during his years there. Super excited about the talent they're bringing in. to Kentucky. And even in a loaded SEC and SEC with a Florida team that's on pace for perhaps make some history here in 2022. And then, of course, you've got a Tennessee. Texas A&M doesn't rebuild, they reload. South Carolina brings back everyone. Ooh, SEC going to be Mississippi State, super talented next year. Other than Vanderbilt, which is still a top 50 team. Other than Vanderbilt, I mean, the Bamas of the world, the Auburns of the world. You're playing top 50 opponents exclusively. And so, again, there are high expectations for Coach Kaufman, Coach Gordon, of what they think their roster of talent is capable of achieving this season. And of course, it always helps to get a former veteran, I suppose a current veteran, but someone with experience in college tennis like a Musatelli, who holds 4-3-2 in the meantime. Let's go to court number 4 now, if we can. Last off, court 4 for J.J. Mercer, transfer from Ohio State. I believe he's technically considered still a sophomore. I'm not sure exactly how all the, yes, a redshirt sophomore, so still 3 more years of eligibility. A player out of Huntington, West Virginia. Got a 3-love 40-30 lead on the, I suppose, second-year freshman. Ishan Ravachanda. Mercer holding 4-4 love here on court 4. Mercer, part of the wing duo, the doubles portion of our match. First let cord serve point I have seen here this season. A lot of firsts. You're going to hear me say that throughout the course of the day. It's just nice to be back on site. Nice to be doing one of these broadcasts. Nice to hear from all of you. Of course, those of you watching on YouTube, please feel free to comment in our comment section. I see you, Scotty B, the Baylor King. I've missed you, my friend. So, of course, I know you interested in Baylor Bears, interested how the Big 12 is going to look this season. I can tell you right now, it's going to look good. TCU loaded, Baylor loaded, and neither of them is even the best team in the conference because Texas is maybe one of the 3 schools capable of actually beating Florida this season. That's how much talent they've accumulated on the roster. Of course, Kentucky is going to get 2 shots at them, and if they're going to beat this Florida team, they're probably going to need the J.J. Mercers of the world to step up. He is thus far 4-love, also leads 15-30 here in his return game. 40-30 here for Ishan Ravichandar. He looks to get on the board. Point coming up now. Smell that finish line here in set number 1. Strong start this would be to his Kentucky career. So we make the turn at 5 Love Mercer. In the meantime, still got a couple of people to introduce you to if we can, Westoff. Let's go to court number 5 right now. Where again, you're starting to see Kentucky show what they can do. They lead by breaks on court 2, court 4, and court 3 as well, and court number 5 now, where we see veteran Yasha Zemmel for Kentucky leading 3-2 right now. I believe he is taking on Austin Huang, the senior for Columbia. I'll tell you what, Austin Huang is a player that will be counted on by Coach Howie, Coach Rich, and this Columbia team. He's essentially their one veteran. You look on the roster, Huang, I believe it's he, Jason Lee. Excuse me, look at the roster for Columbia here this season. Austin's your senior. That's it, folks. He's the guy who's won an Ivy League title. Played in multiple, 10s, 50s of dual matches. It's interesting to see him struggling here early against Yasha Zemel, sophomore, and out of Haifa, Israel. Zemel now 40-15. He's got 3 chances. It's a nice serve from Zemel. Secures the hold 4-4-2 here on court number 5. You look again for Yasha Zemel, sophomore, Haifa, Israel. He was able to accomplish last season. Limited action, the bottom half of Kentucky's lineup. 7-6 overall for him at the 4-6 singles position. Was part of the solution, or I suppose attempted solution, in doubles for them last season. It's just a struggle up and down for the record. We see Columbia taking 3 of the 4 doubles sets today. Worth noting for this Kentucky team, 15-10 last season at 1 doubles. That was the duo of Diallo and Bourgeois. 16-5 last year at 2 doubles, primarily Draxel, Hurrian. 11-13 at 3 doubles. So again, that they lost 3 double sets. I think Coach Kaufman, Gordon, no, doubles will forever be something they're going to have to find solutions to this season. But now comes, again, the meat and potatoes of this match. How do their guys perform in singles, particularly after Columbia won 3 of 4 double sets? It's better to find out this weekend. Ball sails on a little bit, so now 30 all here on 5. Also worth noting, medical timeout happening on court 2 right now for Alex Finkelstein. Trails 5-2 in his first set. Francois Musatelli of Kentucky. Well, game point coming up for Huang here, 40-30. explain that roar to you all now. What you just heard, as we see Austin Huang commit the error, the ball sails on him. So big deuce point here coming up for his own sake. But that noise you heard, sophomore Alex Kotson, third year, I suppose. The 6-2 first set from Gabriel Diallo, the All-American in 2021 at Kentucky. It's a really nice set of tennis for Kotson. And I'll tell you what, if he's ready to jump up to that number one position, compete, the former blue chip, compete with the likes of the Diallos of the world, Draxels of the world, just give them a head up in their Ivy League competition too. The depth this team has, they go from good to scary good very quickly. But again, big deuce point here for a guy they're going to need wins from this season, particularly early on. That is super, super impressive tennis, though, from Austin Huang. Just, you guys know what I'm going to say here. Staying alive. Still down a break. But 3-4 now in set number one. In the meantime, we did see first set off the board for Kentucky, J.J. Mercer. He takes a 6-2 decision over Ishan Ravichandar. If we can, Westhoff, let's go to 6. I don't think we've introduced our players on 6 yet. That's on me, folks. I do apologize. Far side of your screen serving in the dark blue. Alexander LeBlanc, 6'5", junior out of Montreal. Taking on another one of those talented unknowns. For Colombia, Croatia's Roko Horvat. I know didn't even get to visit the school, despite committing there. Going to spend perhaps his most formative years of life on Columbia's campus. Looks like that decision's paying off early as he takes the first set 6-2 over LeBlanc. Again, we've got 4 indoor matches going on right now. We'll get over there as soon as we're done with all of our first sets here outdoors. Check in on how everything's going. I know we've got some Pepperdine players in action there at Columbia, so I'm going to make sure we get all of our names right, make sure I know who's playing before I show any of that to you all. But again, right now, some home stretches of a couple of first sets. Let's go to 2 if we can. Super producer Westhoff, for right now, Francois Musatelli, excuse me, out to serve for the first set. Freshman Alex Finkelstein, by the way, just took a medical timeout on that last changeover and did look to be limping a little bit in the doubles as well. I believe he was playing on court 3, or court, well, whatever court that was at the time. Fun facts about Lorenzo Musatelli was 3-time All-Conference, Conference USA, while at Old Dominion, first team in singles and doubles in 2019 and 2020. Represented France at the 2019 Master UBNP Paribas college event. Now has quadruple set point on Alex Finkelstein. Does rank number 69 in singles. You can see him, Alex Finkelstein, slowly limping his way to the bench. You see Coach Endelman sort of go up to him, say, "You good? We gonna keep playing here? What's going on?" Of course, none of us want to stress any of these players. In fact, I believe right now, I think we're about to see Coach Howie telling Alex, just tell him enough's enough. It's called up quits here on court number 2. I think that is exactly what's happening. Yep. Alex Finkelstein, freshman, just unfortunately unable to play. It's a lower back injury for him that's hobbling him. He can't move his best. So 6-3 set for Francois Musatelli. Here it's funny, apologies from Howie to Coach Cedric Kaufman, as if to say, look, if I would have known, not have played him. We're trying to get matches in. This is a live and let live. This is a beneficial for all of us thing. And of course, your heart wrench for a guy like Alex Finkelstein who just hasn't played many matches in a while. Was looking forward certainly to this moment. So hopefully he gets healthy moving forward. But again, that's where we stand now on court 2. If we can, let's go to 4. I'm really interested in this Mercer Ravichandra match. I think in Ishan Ravichandra, super talented. I just see him 5'6" singles, a guy who seems to have great feel, not the most overwhelming size, 5'8", out of New Jersey as the first year. Second year player. Of course, conversely to Ravichandra, who draws the error there, is a guy in J.J. Mercer who, look, I can be frank, for the past 2 years, you heard rumors. When are Cash and Mercer going to get in the doubles lineup? Cash and Mercer look so good in practice. Just wait until you see them out in our dual match lineup. And that never happened for Coach Tucker, for the Buckeyes, in JJ's 2 years in Columbus now. Of course, we very rarely, if ever, got to see him play in singles either, and it's just so difficult to crack that Buckeyes singles lineup. You look at who was playing 5 and 6 singles positions last season. You get guys like JJ Tracy, Kyle Seelig. Of course, you're competing with the Justin Boulets of the world at the bottom. You're competing with Chung, all these guys. It's a murderer's row in Columbus. And so, of course, for JJ, get more playing time, get more action out of his college experience. He was ready for a change, ready to head to Kentucky. You can understand that. JJ Mercer's too good of a player to be sitting on a bench. And that's not meant to be a slight to Ohio State because they've got a bunch of good players, but you can understand his urge to want to play. Really nice defense from Ravichandra, but just again, overwhelming aggression from JJ Mercer. And this is the key thing for me. And this will be the last Mercer point. He's been around winning teams. 2019 Buckeyes, in the national indoor dominant fashion, looked really damn good doing it. 2020, they start the year strong. Yes, that year was robbed by everyone, but you're on a team with a McNally, with a Kingsley, Seelig, Trotter, Boulay, all those guys last year as well. The struggles they went through, not making the national indoors, then fighting their way through the season, having to go down to Winston-Salem, beat Wake Forest in the round of 32. Mercer's been around good teams. He knows what it takes to compete at the highest level of college tennis. That's why it's going to be interesting to see if he's at that 4-5 singles position, can solidify that spot for the Wildcats because you look for them last season. As much success as they had, 21-2 last year at number one singles, 17-7 at two, 17-6 at three. But they struggled in the bottom half of their lineup. Outside of that top three of Hurrian, Diallo, Draxel, it was searching for answers in the bottom half of the lineup. So I know for Coach Kaufman, Coach Borden, they view JJ very much as a potential solution to those problems. Him and a Musatelli and just, of course, the development from their own internal guys as well. Bottom half of the lineup is the part of the lineup to watch because we know what we're getting from our top half from Kentucky. But if they can start getting, again, from 500 level play to 666, win 2/3 of your matches instead, you can afford to drop doubles points. And all of a sudden, this Kentucky team gets very frisky, very fast. But a forehand error from Ravichandar hands the break back to JJ Mercer. And again, that's why I'm so interested in this game of Ravichandar. It's very handsy, as you can tell. It's very wrist-centric. Feels like everything is, there's so much action with his racket, so much movement as he tries to hit the ball. And yet you can see it right there. The feel, the contact point. A guy his size can get after it. Still 15 left, Tracy. For this game, just so all of you know, we are going to go to courts 3 and 5. We've got 5-4 score lines. I believe on serve in both matches. Zemmel's serving for the set for Kentucky on 6, so I'm keeping my eye there, don't worry. In fact, let's go there. Actually, super producer Westhoff, enough if, ands, or buts. Not 6, let's go to court 5. Where it is, again, a 5-4 lead currently, and I apologize for those of you watching on the broadcast going to see me stand up so I can get a slightly better angle, let's see, of this long match. There we go. All here. Assistant coach Biglio. I'm just going to call him Rich. It's a lot easier for me to call him Rich. You see assistant coach Rich for Columbia. Talking to his senior. Sorry, there was a call on one. The player looked to me for confirmation. It was out. This is where you just want to see the leadership from Austin Huang manifest itself. Stay alive. I know it's not a dual match format, but in these hidden duels, what's so enjoyable is you do get the chance to see your players compete side by side with one another. See how the guy on court 3 responds to the momentum shift on court 6. And so these are very valuable reps. If you listen to our podcast as we see 30 all here with associate head coach for Tennessee men's tennis, James Mackay, he talked last season, when did they know they were going to be good? When they ripped through a bunch of hidden duel matches and performed extraordinarily well in the fall. They exceeded their expectations. And so, again, these hidden duels just give you a chance to look at your players, see how they do compete side by side. Tell you what, that's a damn nice forehand from Austin Huang. He's now got 2 break points to get us back on serve here on 5. Meanwhile, Lapadat held for Kentucky, so it's 5 all on court 3 currently as well. Deuce point here coming up for Huang. Go ad side with his return. Am I the biggest fan when someone cheers after a double fault? No. But did I not just say, what are these Columbia coaches looking for? Leadership from their senior. And that's Austin Huang, despite the circumstance of that specific point, letting the rest of his team know, hey, I'm still here. I'm down here competing. First set plays on 5. Let's go, Lions. That's the message Austin Huang sends with the break. It's 5-all here on 5. Now, if we can, Westhoff, let's go to 3. The most entertaining and, quite frankly, in my opinion, the most significant outside of the Mercer Ravichandar match. Although Kotzen's playing really well against Diallo, but on 3, this matchup between Lapadat and Hashimoto. Again, Lapadat going to be on the short list of potential solutions for this Kentucky team in the bottom half of their lineup, but I'll tell you what, this freshman for Kentucky, I don't say this lightly. I look at Hugo Hashimoto. Reminds me of young Patrick Maloney. Just, again, you could tell the way they're both on top of the ball, taking it early. They play on their terms. Oh, man. Just listen to the sound of the ball coming off the racket. Big backhands from Hashimoto. He fights off a break point. We get to an early pressure moment in his career. 5-all, deuce, first set. Again, it's just the Knoxville Showdown. Me, you are Crack Rackets fans here. See what Hugo's got. Lapadat electing to go ad side for the return. It's a silly quality point. It's just silly. It's just, he's a freshman, folks. First day on the job, Hugo Hashimoto. I'm impressed. 6'5", he holds for the lead over Lapadat. With that in mind, let's go to 1 if we can. Let's spend some time with our top dogs, Kotzen and Diallo. As we pull up the screen, it's Gabriel Diallo trailing by a set, leading 40-15 on serve here in set number 2. And again, as we all try and find our sea legs here, I start to realize I was starting to make a point before finishing it a little bit earlier. Not only is this Kentucky team missing 2 of their top 3, no number 1 player in the country, Liam Draxel, no junior, senior leader, Milian Hurrian. And the other thing not worth noting, not only are those 2 at the top of the lineup from a tennis standpoint, that's your emotional leader. That's your heartbeat right there for this Kentucky men's tennis team. Liam Draxel, the effort he plays with, the fight he shows point by point. That's the kindling that gets the rest of the Wildcat fire going. Ditto with Hurrian. He is, once the fire's going, you put that, I want to call it, what was it called when you spray? It's not oil. That's too much. I mean, it's gasoline, sure. Milian Hurrian is the gasoline that gets the Kentucky fire burning at its hottest. And so you can see, again, I'm a little bit surprised. The Kentucky team that's known for its noise, its passion. I know it's just a fall event, but they've been very muted thus far. to see some fire from Diallo, who fires off that ace-2 hold for 2-all here. He trails Columbia, third-year Alex Kotzen. It's 2-2-all. Save for Kotzen. He's built like a brick. Hell, that's a guy who's been playing. It's funny, he didn't play at all last year, but a guy who's been in the college ecosystem now for 3 years. Lacks this boyishness of a Hashimoto, of Ravichandar. Oh, we love 30 deficit here. It's the first time Diallo's really had some momentum. It's interesting to note both Kentucky coaches, Gordon and Kaufman, locking in on this Diallo court. And a match that, again, for lack of a better term, is an exhibition. Yes, it counts for rankings. Yes, these results matter to these players. Lineup decisions we're going to see made by each coach down the road, but to see both coaches center Real Diallo shows they want a little bit more from their junior than he's given them thus far. That's a nice serve from Kotzen, though. Not much you can do there as he jams the body of Diallo. Love 30 has become 30-all. All right. First break point chance for Gabriel Diallo. I apologize if it's Diallo. Still working on my game here, finding my sea legs in 2021. But first of 2 break point chances for him. That's such a good serve. Sorry. Might be a little bit ahead of you all there. But good Lord. For a second serve, Alex Kotzen just jammed the body of the lengthy Diallo like that. You don't give him something that clean that he go out and extend to. You jam him, you keep him getting close, force him to get a little indecisive. Deuce point coming up. Go back to the deuce side, which of course was where Diallo was returning in the doubles. This guy, man. Alex Kotzen just not giving Gabriel Diallo anything to work with. Keeps that ball low. Gets at the feet. Gets a look at a second pass. He holds now 4-3-2. In the meantime, it's double breaker time, Westhoff. We're not going to go double box, but get ready to work the shifts. We're on courts 3 and court 5. So we've got tiebreakers happening simultaneously between Hashimoto, Lapadat, Huang, and Zemmel. Let's kick things off on court 3. So we're a little further ahead there, Westhoff. Right now, Hashimoto just sent an attempted drop shot wide, so he trails by a mini break, 1-3. Speaking of which, mini break podcast, each and every day recapping the U.S. Open. You can hear today's episode for the course of the next few hours. Obviously, we're working super producer West off a little bit harder today. Forehand sails long, though, for Hashimoto, and that's been the general vibe I've gotten from this match is, look, Hashimoto, he's been trailing for the majority of it, whether it was down an early break to start the first set, broken in his very first game. He then broke back, but was down another break later on in the set before getting that break back. Now down 4-1 here. And we'll see for a guy, and this the reason I bring that up, that would fit the script for his game style. He's a shot maker. He's a guy who wants to go after the ball, playing aggressive baseline tennis. It'll be interesting to see if he solids up here, if he just goes into brick wall mode. Let's see how the youngster responds. Well, it's just awesome stuff from Lapadat. Serve and volley here, the stretch on that first lefty forehand volley, reminiscent of the serve and volley his former coach, volunteer assistant coach, former Ohio State All-American standout Peter Kobelt used to utilize all the time. That felt like a Kobelt play there from Lapadat. It's a 5-1 lead after we make the turn here on court number 3. And scoring update for you all. It was Columbia's Kotzen taking the first set on 1. Columbia's Horvat also earned a first set on 6. 2 first sets for Kentucky players on courts 2 and 4. Musatelli earning a 6-3 withdrawal from Alex Finkelstein. He banged up his lower back. Meanwhile, Mercer up 6-1, 3-2 on Ravichandar. 5-1 here at the turn. Lapadat, lefty. Sophomore out of London, Ontario. Secure the first set. Another misfire from Hashimoto. Just hasn't found his rhythm, I would say, point in, point out yet. In this first set, we've seen flashes of excellence, no doubt about that, but a lot of first ball errors as well. This quintuple set point, I believe it is, for Lapadat and Kentucky. Of Kentucky, excuse me. First set to Joshua Lapadat, the sophomore out of Ontario, takes it 7-6 over Hashimoto. You look for Lapadat. He was one of those players, 6-9 last season in the bottom half of the singles lineup for his Kentucky Wildcats. So that much needed set as he looks to build some confidence, looks to solidify himself in the bottom of the lineup. In the meantime, watch stuff if we can. Let's go back to 5. So the last first set on the board here outdoors. Can't speak to where we're at indoors at this moment, but we will pop over. Semmel now leading by a mini break, 5-4 here. He served for the set before Huang was able to get that break back, 4-5 all. Really nice point, though. The player out of Haifa. 6-4 now for Zemmel. Double set point. Again, big question for Kentucky. We know what 1 through 3 singles looks like. Who's 4? Who's 5? Who's 6? Trying to firmly establish himself in that conversation. A frustrated Austin Huang heads to the bench after that error. But in the meantime, it is Zemmel 7-6 first set on 5. He has won 4 of these first sets outdoors. First sets belonging Musatelli, Lapadat, Mercer, and Zemmel. It's 2 through 5 in the meantime. Let's go back to 1 right now if we can, Westhoff. Alex Kotzen closing in on a dominant performance today. 6-2, now leads 4-2 in set number 2. Just faced 2 break points himself in that last service game. Bounces back immediately. Gifted some errors from Diallo. But he takes those gifts, translates into a break. And you see Coach Rich, assistant coach for Columbia, on court with Kotzen, just trying to propel his third year forward. Let's get over the finish line here. Then he can go turn his attention elsewhere. Bad miss. Yeah. Tell you what, Kotzen has been the emotional leader of these Lions today. The third-year player showing off his veteran chops. Takes a 6-2, 5-2 lead on court number 1 over Kentucky's Gabriel Diallo. In the meantime, let's go to 6 if we can. I know we haven't spent a lot of time on this matchup between Alexandre LeBlanc, another player competing for that bottom half of the roster. Last year for LeBlanc was 5-5 overall in dual matches. He's taking on a second year player, but first time on campus. Wilco Horvat, who spent a full year of college going to Columbia, not in Columbia. Fortunately, due to, of course, the pandemic, was forced to stay in Croatia through his freshman season. So essentially, he is, again, one of those 8 sophomore freshman types that Coach Endelman and Columbia has on their roster this year. He sees 1 set point fought off by Alexandre LeBlanc. Look for LeBlanc, junior, another one of the many talented Canadians on this roster. Horvat gets the break. He'll now serve for a second Columbia players' victory here in this match. Again, not a dual match. No team implications whatsoever this weekend. Suppose that's why they call it a hidden duel. We're hiding the fact we're playing in the dual match format. I really like the game of Horvat. Just seems like the game comes very easy to him. The harder you hit the ball, he'll start generating that pace back. Everything's out in front. I don't say this lightly, but the way he kind of just flicks that racket on the kick and goes after that forehand. Not saying from a result standpoint, I'm talking about from a form standpoint. I see shades of Mississippi State's Nuno Borges. Just look at the way he hits this kick serve in the forehand. If you're listening to this and you're in a position to do so, tweet out at College Tennis Ranks, at Chris Halioris, well, it's at College Tennis Ranks. Just let him know. Ruskin compared Columbia sophomore Rocco Horvat, Nuno Borges, and just figure out what he thinks. Horvat now 2 points away from the finish line. That yell you heard was J.J. Mercer getting the break 4-6-1-5-3. He's currently serving for the match. Alex Kotzen up 6-2, 5-3, 30 love. He's currently serving for the match. Horvat's closest to the finish line. We'll try and keep our eyes on all of these. $40-15 for Horvat. Westhoff, I'm going to have you hold court one as well because it's 40 love there too. See if we can't get both. All right, let's go to one quickly. Or as soon as you're done on the point. Obviously, you can tell where I'm at. Hopefully, you all got to catch that ending there. It tells you how much this victory means to Alex Kotzen. Big for his ranking. Diallo was a guy, made the NCAA tournament last year, was All-American in both singles and doubles. And you can see the borderline emotions on Kotzen's face. He hasn't played a match in over a year and a half. He hasn't won a match for Columbia in so long. Overwhelmed. I'm getting goosebumps just looking at the way this this not recreational, that's not the right word, exhibition style event means that much to him to be back on court competing for the Lions. That's why, folks, college tennis is more special. It's just, this is why it's that much better than anything else. In the meantime, let's go to four. I apologize for that little soliloquy. Right now on four, J.J. Mercer serving for the match. Sean Ravachanda, sophomore, former blue chip recruit for Columbia. Mercer in the dark blue, serving near side of your screen. Now love 30 in this service game. Now sees himself at 30 all. Again, where we're at right now. Singles results done on court 1, 2, and 6. Columbia got wins on 1 and 6. Kentucky's Musatelli getting a retirement victory on 2. But now we've arrived at the moment, match point for JJ Mercer. And it would be a nice kickoff to his Kentucky men's tennis career. Victory here today. Okay, that's a match cats from JJ Mercer. Now that routine's from Columbus, as that is a classic saying for the Buckeyes post-match. Nevertheless, JJ gets the victory he was looking for. 6-1, 6-3 over Ravichandar. Like the way Ravichandar performed, but again, I think this result has more to do with Mercer than anything else. It's 4 down on our outdoor courts, 2 to go. I do apologize. I know we haven't kicked it over to our indoor courts. If you are a parent or a fan looking for that indoor action right now on those indoor courts, I believe on court number 7, we've got court number 1 indoors, Wingar for Columbia taking on Sorbo. Court 2, you've got Templeman and Chen. Court 3, you've got Columbia's Golan taking on Samaria of Pepperdine. You've also got Ruger taking on Rico of Pepperdine. Reason we're not bouncing there, I just don't know what the scores are. Unfortunately, I don't have them in front of me. Don't want to hop into a match I know nothing about. But again, those are your indoor courts. Courts 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1 and 2 are Columbia and and Kentucky affairs. Courts 3 and 4, Columbia and Pepperdine getting some work in. And here we're on court 3 with super producer Daniel Westoff as Hashimoto put his match around. Now kid soft one, Joshua Lapadat.
Let's go! Come on! Right here!
It's really good +1 stuff. And Lapadat lights off a break point. So now Deuce coming up in his 1-all service game here in set number 2. Yep. Tentative overhead from Lapadat, but the on-the-run slap goes a bit long from Hashimoto, so Lapadat will hold 4-2-1. Meanwhile, we can quickly pop over to 5 Westoff. It is all Kentucky. Asher Zemel here on court 5. Zemel now 2 game points to take a 7-6 3-love lead on Columbia senior Austin Huang. Team assistant coach for Columbia, Rich, move his way down to court number 3. You see Howie Endelman move his way down to 5. Howie's moved his way down to 3. Not sure what you can do there if you're Austin Huang. Nice serving from Zemel. He holds now, consolidates the break, extends his lead to 3-love. Worth reminding all of you, coming up after this one, we've got match number 2 on the day here at the Knoxville Showdown. Fun battle between the Pepperdine Waves and our host Tennessee Volunteers, of course, again, hidden dual format for that as well. So we'll get 4 double sets, mixed in with about, say, 7 to 10 singles matches as well. I was on a call with these coaches. They were all very clear. The stated goal of the weekend: get as many matches under their belts as humanly possible. Tell you what, that looks good. Seems more confident from the baseline, striking the ball so well here to start today. Ooh. I believe we're still back here on 3 right now, and that return from Joshua Lapadat, something else. Drives that backhand down the line. He's just feeling it right now. Ball, think of it as grapefruit. Sometimes I think it's easier for Hashimoto to hit the spectacular nonsense like that than it is to hit the basic setup in the center of the court forehand. Nevertheless, Coach Endelman, Coach Rich, they'll take it. 30 all now. That's the one you don't want to miss. 30 all. Makeable return just to the net for Lapadat. So Hashimoto now. Eking us up at 2 all here in the second set. Meanwhile, Samuel just got the break for 7-6 for Love. Or 5. Looks like Kentucky's found potentially a third singles victory here outdoors. It's not a dual match. Can't emphasize that enough. It's not a dual match, but you know what's fun? Winning more singles matches than the team you're playing against. Kentucky wins out, they're going to have the opportunity to do that outdoors here in singles. That's all I'll say about that. good stuff. That's all there is to say. That is good stuff. Freshman Hugo Hashimoto acquainting himself quite well with this college tennis format, the fighting, the scrapping, the intensity as well that has to come with pacing yourself over the course of 2 out of 3 set match. All of a sudden now, again, see this one going to a third. Could see these coaches asking these two players in particular to play a full third set. They seem fit. Of course, if you're the Columbia coaches, you just haven't seen that much of Hashimoto, so you're down. Full third sets, third set breakers. Came here to play. Good serve there from Lapadov, finding the spot. Hits the out wide there. Sudden 15 all. Zemel 6 love, 4 love, 30 all. As we approach a match point on 6, we'll get over there. What's else? Something else I've noticed about this Kentucky team? A lot of lefty love. And I know that's not a new fact. Chris Halioris will hear me say that and be like, you didn't know that already? But you look up and down this lineup. Zemel, lefty. Lapadov, lefty. Now, Diallo and Drexler are not lefties. I don't think Millen is either, but not a lefty love. Always a good thing. 40-15 here. Or Lapadov. Meanwhile, Huang gets one of the breaks back on 5, so he stays alive there. That's tough. You get the let cord return you want. But unfortunately, just yanks that return wide. So Lapadov holds 3-2 on serve here in set number 2. Alex Gruskin of Cracked Racquets, super excited for this weekend's action. After this, I imagine 5, 10, 15-minute, maybe even 20-minute break to allow these Tennessee players to go on court, go warm up. Of course, our hometown hosts here. We're going to take on players from Pepperdine in our second match. It'll be the same deal, singles, doubles, mix of action. As we get our 2021-2022 college tennis season going here at Cracked Racquets. Of course, if you miss any of the action, we'll be recapping end of each day. I also love the spirit Hashimoto has played with. And again, he's a freshman,
Let's
so I
go!
suppose
Come
there's
on!
the naivete of thinking a match like this is just as significant as a match played late April, early May. It's his first college tennis match, first time wearing the C on your chest. You're always going to get excited, but there's just a fire. You can't fake the fire. And oftentimes, what that fire on court can belie is just a passion, a desire
Let's
to
go!
actually want
Come
to
on!
continue to compete for your team, be the best, not only college tenniser you can be, but competitor you can be on court. And respectfully, that is not the attitude you see from 100% of college tennis players. So when you see it this early in a freshman who's so clearly enthusiastic, buying in, I mean, you definitely take notice.
Sure.
Hashimoto able to hold. Still on serve here, 3-0.
Right here. Let's go. Come on. Come on, allez! Allez! Come on!
If we can,
Let's go!
Westhoff, let's go now to
Right
court
here.
number 5. Huang had gotten one of the breaks back for 6-7, 1-4. Then gets broken immediately again. So now it's Zemmel serving for the match, up 7-6, 5-1.
Almost there. Come on, come on! Let's go! Let's go! Come on!
Austin Huang not satisfied with his performance to date. Another error for him. You see the hat in the head. Again, where he thinks left things off. Look for Austin in his career. Coming out of Elk Grove, 19-6 in singles in 2019-20 before play got stopped. 22 and 8 his freshman year, 26-9 his sophomore year. Not a player that's accustomed to losing many matches in the fall, let alone any matches in general. Semmel, another match point coming up for him here. Court 5. There it is. Not going to guarantee you a lineup spot by any stretch of the imagination, but for Yasha Zemmel, rising sophomore out of Haifa, Israel, that is an impressive victory. Comfortable one at that. So, 5 outdoor singles matches off the board. We get to number 6. If we can, let's go back to court number 3 right now. Oh, I apologize. I see a shift in the camera. This is now a match I'm able to sit down for. And it's the freshman, Hugo Hashimoto. First college tennis match. Hashimoto had his chance there. You can see a little frustration on his face. Coach Rich just telling him, keep that passing shot just a little bit lower. Good choice, bad execution. Still on serve here. Again, 7-6 now, 4-3. Kentucky's Josh Lapadot, rising sophomore out of Montreal. Moving, of course, again. Court 7, Court 8, Court 9, Court 10. I'm going to ask Super Producer Westhoff, when you're ready, give me a little bit of a rundown. We're going to just hop around in there for a little bit, just sort of, again, sniff around, see where we are at from a tennis perspective. So when you are ready, let me know. We'll head over to the indoor facility. See if we've got any matches still going on in there. Again, your match is happening in there. You've got 2 Kentucky versus Columbia battles. You've also got 2 Columbia versus Pepperdine battles going on inside those matches right now. Wingar versus Sorbo, Templeman versus Chen in terms of the Kentucky Columbia matchups. You've also got on the Pepperdine side, again, they have Sumaria and Rico competing against Golan and Ruger, respectively. Let's go to court number 1, if we can first, Westhoff. Wingar in the Columbia powder blue. Sorbo in the more formal Kentucky dark blue. see right now. Sorbo. On Wingar. Wingar? Wingar. Let's go with Wingar. There's Sorbo, excuse me. Serving again on the near side of your screen. Look for Jonathan Sorbo, redshirt junior out of Toronto. Very much looking to get in the mix here for this Kentucky team. He's taking on an opponent. Weingall. Ranked as high as 11th nationally with blue chip recruit. And that's where we are at on court number 1. Switch gears now, Westhoff. Let's go to court, I believe, 2. And again, our last of the Columbia, Kentucky affairs. Templeman, first year out of Utah for Columbia. Taking on Yinzi Chen, I believe the only senior, one of 2 seniors, him, 5th year Milan Furion, and grad student Musitelli, the only seniors on this Kentucky roster. So we'll see here. These two are made of. Again, we apologize, lack of the play site score feed. Try and figure out what these scores are at as soon as we can. Head marker evidently incorrect. It's Templeman. Columbia serving on the near side of your screen. we can, though, super producer Daniel Westhoff, let's go back outside. Let's go to court number 3. Four all, deuce point coming up between the redshirt sophomore no redshirt, just a sophomore, Joshua Lapadat. Deuce point now against freshman Hugo Hashimoto. Just good, clean living from Lapadat. Big serve, +1 combo, follows it up by getting to the net and puts the first volley where it needs to go. Nothing too flashy, simple, high percentage play, gets the job done. Lapadat, 7-6, 5-4 lead now here on court number 3. Of course, again, coming up after this one, should be a very fun battle between the Pepperdine Waves and your host Tennessee Volunteers. A couple of Volunteers out for that match. In particular, no Adam Walton. Still a ton of talent, though. Taking the court for Tennessee, you get the return of, I'll say it since we're here and I'm biased in this moment, freshman of the year, Johannes Monday. It's exceptional by any metric you want to use last season. We have a really fun match on court number 1 between him. I believe he's playing Guy Denuden. Look that up. Oh no, he's playing De Jong. That is an even more fun match. It's De Jong round 1. You get Mitsui versus Rogers. Andrew Rogers making his return. Former Tennessee player last season, transferred to Pepperdine. He's in some familiar territory here this weekend. It's a really nice first point from Lapadat, who just whenever he's had the opportunity to get to the net has taken it. Again, it's a very clean, smooth game for the sophomore out of London, Ontario.
Let's go. Come on.
Now 15 all here. It's a really nice down the line forehand from Hugo Hashimoto. 30-15 now, 2 points away. Sending us to bonus time here in our second set. That's where the aggression of Lapadat comes into play. He just plays on his terms, always. So even in that moment, down 30-15. Up a set, 5-4. Keeps going for his shots. And just like that, Joshua Lapadat, for Lapada, excuse me, Lapade, I have to ask him, but the point being, he's got himself a match point now. Yep. That ball a little bit long, and it was, let's be clear, a little bit long. Still a second match point coming up for Joshua Lapadan. And again, these are the sorts of moments coaches came here to see this weekend. These sorts of high pressure, high intensity, all eyes are on you. Yes, it's not dual match on the line sort of pressure yet, but we're trying to replicate that as close as we can. I just would love to see a break of serve here. That is an incredible point of tennis from freshman Julio Hashimoto. The more solid of the two in that moment, in that biggest point, brings out some of his best stuff. Again, earn 5-all here on court 3. Meanwhile, if we can, super producer Daniel Westoff, can you pan to court 6? And just let me know when you do pan over there, because we've got the arrival of the Pepperdine Wave. They are on court number 6, getting ready to get their warm-up going. What does that indicate to me? That both teams will try to warm up so that we can get our start time as close to that 1 p.m. projected start as possible for our next match. Again, Tennessee taking on Pepperdine, but back to 3 if we can, super producer Westoff. 6-7, 5-all. Oh, court 6 cam isn't on. That's good. Well, you'll have to take my word, folks. The Pepperdine team is out on court. I saw them last night hanging out in my hotel lobby. Nice to catch up with them, Coach Shackley, crew. Of course, here's your connective thread for all of you as we see Hashimoto making a bit of a push now of 30 in Lapadat's 5-all service game, but talked about it before. Gordon, assistant coach for the Kentucky men's tennis team. He was a recent graduate of Coastal Carolina and former doubles partner Pete Billingham. Now, an assistant coach himself. They were the assistant coach for the Pepperdine women. Immediately after college, they went and worked down at Saddlebrook, where one summer they were counselors to a 15-year-old kid by the name of Alex Gruskin. Now, why do I bring that up? It's just my first reaction whenever I see Pepperdine on court. Pete and Matt, that they were, again, to go from counseling me to actual college coaching. I think something went right for them in that little bit of a time span. Nevertheless, again, focusing here on Lapadat, 30 now in his 5-all service game. It's a good bait and switch. Now, I don't think he hit that return cleanly, but to create that sort of angle with your return of serve, you force Lapadat in that scenario to get in behind that forehand, because if not, you're giving up all of that court time anyway. Still, Hashimoto beats him to the spot. Triple break point now to try and send us to a third. I do think, given the circumstances, given this is match one of the weekend, I retract my earlier statement. I bet these two go third set breaker instead of full third set. Call may have been a hair on the late side, but the ball was out clearly. And so Ugo Hashimoto goes from down match point to up a break 6-5 in the third set. Alex Gruskin of Crack Rackets, too excited to be back with all of you for my first big event of the 2021-2022 college tennis season. Hopefully an event that will be a feature of the college tennis schedule moving forward. And that, of course, is this beautiful Knoxville Showdown here in beautiful Knoxville, Tennessee. I know I'm staying downtown here this week in Knoxville. First time at an SEC campus, so I was a little nervous. It's lived up to the hype. I mean, certainly downtown Nashville, beautiful city. So again, obviously, SEC known for its athletics, SEC tennis particularly strong of late. Two semifinalists last year, three semifinals, two. Who'd Florida beat? Nope, they beat Texas. Two semifinalists, but of course they got Texas A&M into the quarterfinals. Trying to think back to all the matchups. It was Ohio State, lost round of 16. So it was TCU, Baylor, Texas, South Carolina made the quarterfinals as well. Or no, they lost, but they were a round of 16 team. This Kentucky team's in the mix. And depth or strength at the top as well for this conference. Georgia's the other one that was going to bother me. Georgia played Tennessee in the quarterfinals. That was your four SEC quarterfinalist teams. Meanwhile, no Ivy League teams in the 2021 NCAA championships, as there was no tennis season for them last spring. Fascinating to see this Columbia team, which did elect to play the national indoors. Because they didn't play last season, they were one of the last two teams, I believe, to pick a spot as such. I want to say they're headed to Texas for that kickoff weekend. Now 30-15. Hashimoto 2 points away from sending us to a deciding third set buster. And now it's 30 all, and again, This is where it gets interesting, folks. The freshman Hashimoto, first college tennis match, first 3 or 4 days on campus for him at Columbia. Finds himself trying to do the hardest thing in the world, win that final point in a set to earn the split here with Lapadati. And this isn't a dual match, but if it were a dual match, given the split, Columbia would have taken the doubles as they won 3 double sets. They got to win at 1. They got to win at 6. On courts 1 and 6. Now, again, this is not a dual match. I cannot emphasize that enough. But hypothetically, if it was, this would be the 3-all deciding court. And so for both coaches now, if you're Kentucky, you do not want to see your player get extended to a third. Would not want to see the match sent to a third, an additional hour because your player couldn't get over the hump. At the same time, and this is where it's a little bit difficult to replicate because it's not quite the intensity of a dual match, right? Because you see, in the background, yes, the players are cheering, but they're not locked in. There's not the sense of life or death that comes in a dual match for so many of these teams. Still, that said, if you're Rich, Howie, the Columbia coaching staff, you want to see how your freshman responds under this pressure. Can Hugo Hashimoto, under facing the gauntlet of a set deficit, just send a match to a third, keep competing? He can do that at the start of his freshman campaign. Imagine what he can do come May. So, deuce point, set point, break point to get us back on serve here in the second set. Feels critical, sneaky critical here. Hugo Hashimoto manages to scrap and claw his way to a third set. Now, we get in a full third or a third set breaker? What's the call? Investigating. Time again. See those Pepperdine waves getting loose. Do not see the Tennessee Volunteers yet, though. Keep an eye on that. In the meantime, Alex Gruskin could not be more excited to be back here at the return of college tennis here in this 2021-22 season. In particular, we are live from Knoxville, Tennessee for the inaugural Knoxville Showdown. Hidden duels all weekend long. We've got Tennessee, Columbia, Pepperdine, Kentucky. Look for these teams. Tennessee, obviously, continue to build on what was truly a standout season in 2021. And arguably the best freshman in the nation in Johannes Monday. They start this season with the #1 doubles team in the country. Your 2021 NCAA doubles champions, Adam Walton, Pat Harper. Gone is Wiedemann, it's true. Gone is Giles Hussey, and those two guys were rocks in the center of the Volunteers lineup. That said, though, boy, do they bring in some talent. Neil Hudd comes on over from Oklahoma State. And they've got a couple of freshmen, with, I believe, Shinto Matsui. Has been described to me as an uber talented player on the Tennessee roster. They're just waiting to figure out how that talent can most effectively and efficiently manifest itself on the court. Of course, you bring back a guy who I believe is the only player ever to bagel Will Blumberg in a set in college tennis in #1 singles player Adam Walton, who you know exactly what you're going to be getting from. Of course, again, another year later, Monday in year 2. It's a scary, scary prospect. Martin Prada has always felt he was the best player in the world. So why should a run to the NCAA semifinals be any different for him? And of course, you need that confidence when you're playing at the highest levels of competition. But again, up and down the board, Harper, Walton, Monday, Prada. It's a really good Tennessee team, and thus should be super, super exciting action. But now, let's see. We go into a third set breaker. We will find out shortly. Lapadat serving near side of your screen. Obviously, if he hits the ball over after this point, you know it's a breaker. If he doesn't, it looks like you're going a full third. Not a surprise to see them choose to go third set breaker, just given the abundance of tennis we've got. Let's see, does he hit it over? Wait. Hold the phone. We are playing a full third set. Well, okay then. Let's do it. Go a full three here in Tennessee. So again, this gets back to what I was talking about a little bit earlier. I know it's that hidden dual format, but if your Kentucky coaches, Gordon, Hoffman, you're looking at Lapadat and you're saying, we're playing a full third, and here's why. Because we don't know if, as mentioned, it's going to come down in the match where it comes down to you and where you won an emotional 7-6 first set. And, again, if you would have won that second set, we would have clinched the team match. But obviously, we're not playing for that here, but we could play for that scenario a little bit later. And so they want to put Lapadat through that experience right now. They want to put him through the ringer. On the flip side, for Howie, for Rich, could guaranteed you that they said, let's play a full third. We want to know what our freshmen can do. And by the way, day 3 of practice for them after having a full season off from the program due to the COVID pandemic, I would play a full third too. So can completely understand this decision here from both the Kentucky and Columbia coaching staffs. An early deuce point. Get us going here in third set on 3. Lapidat gets the hold, 4-1 love here on 3, and just given where the momentum was at in the match, I don't want to say that was critical because it's a first game in a third set, but yeah, that felt like a big one for him just to get that momentum going again, get on the board, rebuild that confidence. That guy who's so much better on his front foot, so much better when he's moving forward, putting that sorts of pressure on his opponent that we saw throughout the first set. So again, for Lapidat, 1-love lead here. To kick things off. Again, we know there are matches going on indoors. Just not really sure of the scores inside. So I've made some inquiries. Some people sitting near me, see if I can't get constant scoring updates for those indoor matches so that come this afternoon session, come tomorrow, we can more confidently jump over to those indoor courts. We're going to stick away from them from now just because, again, I don't want to throw you into a match without being able to tell you what's happening. So we're going to stick here on 3 where I can tell you very much what's happening. It has been a back and forth affair between Columbia freshman Hugo Hashimoto, Kentucky sophomore Joshua Lapidat. Of course, you look at the results thus far, Kentucky winning only 1 of the 4 doubles sets. That was a victory at number 2, on court 2, excuse me, from I believe it was Mercer and Lapidat. Kentucky has since gotten wins from Musatelli, got a retirement from Alex Finkelstein, the talented Columbia freshman. His lower back was bothering him. Better safe than sorry this early in the season, so Musatelli gets that victory. You also saw wins for J.J. Mercer on court 4. They got a victory from, I'm blanking. It was on court 6, though. It was over Austin Huang. Oh, Yasha, of course, Yasha Zemmel. My fault. Zemmel with the other win for Kentucky. 2 wins for Columbia. Alex Kotzen, extraordinarily impressive at the number 1 singles position. He knocks off 2021 All-American Gabe Diallo, excuse me. He also got a win from talented sophomore, second-year player out of Croatia, Wilko Horvat, spending his first 3 days in Columbia's campus. Goes to JFK, gets to Columbia about a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, to do all the requirements he had to do. Coach then comes to him and says, hey, guess what? We're going straight down to Knoxville. What a first week for the sophomore. Spent again a full year of his college not on campus. Can only imagine for this entire Columbia team how nice it must just feel to be back in the mix. And again, the routines of practicing every day with your team, of being a student athlete. Tell you what, I think those rhythms, those cadences of the college lifestyle think we all miss that at some point in time. So certainly to be in that mix and have a year of that experience taken away from you, can only imagine what these Lions are feeling now. And of course, again, we haven't seen the Columbia Lions. I mentioned this earlier, back-to-back top 5 recruiting classes in 2020, 2021. Essentially 8 first-year players for Coach Howie Endelman, Coach Rich Bonfiglio. So they're super young, super inexperienced, but extraordinarily talented. Let's see what these Columbia Lions are capable of doing here. Let's see if Hugo Hashimoto can capitalize on the momentum he's seemingly built. 1-1 now in the third. It's a good play from Lapadan. And his ability, the lefty, to get to the net, to move forward. Very clean ground strokes. Very, very clean indeed. By the way, I don't think anyone has twisted his hat more per match than Hashimoto. He's gone from the frontwards position to the backwards position to the side position, back to the backwards position. It's worked. 15-30. Yep. Ball going a hair wide for Lapadat. All of the sudden, the momentum in this match has clearly shifted to the freshman, Hugo Hashimoto, excuse me. See assistant coach Rich saying, play on that tee. He's gone on your tee the entire time. Cheat over. Try to hit a forehand return. I love seeing that little adjustment from the assistant coach. Yep, and he gets him the forehand return he was looking for and ultimately gets him the break. That is coaching to a T. And in case some of you were wondering, did assistant coach Rich Bonfiglio forget how to coach in the year off between now and the 2020 season? The answer is an unequivocal no. It's just smart adjustment there. You can tell when who goes on his front foot, able to be the aggressor. Hit that forehand inside the baseline. He's a completely different player. And now he takes a 2-1 break lead. And boy, echoes of the 2019 ITA kickoff weekend, 2019-2020 kickoff weekend, when these Columbia Lions came down here to Tennessee. And I don't want to say shocked the Volunteers, because Columbia always in that top 15, top 20 mix. But to come down here again in that 2019-2020 season, opening weekend, ITA kickoff weekend, you beat a Tennessee team 4-2 on their home turf on that day. They had taken the doubles, got wins that day from, I believe, 3-set wins. Listen to this. So they get the doubles point, and then they get a 3-set win from Austin Huang, 4-6, 7-5, 6-4. They get a 3-set win from Alex Kotzen, 4-6, 6-4, 6-3. They get a 3-set win from Jack Tang, 6-3, 2-6, 6-4. So again, you think Tennessee, even in the fall, looking forward this Tennessee roster to a shot at these Columbia Lions, who they know oh so well. I bet they are. But guess what? It's a new group of Lions. A lot of pride for these Lions as well, pun intended. Stand up here to improve my angle. I do apologize. And I see the Tennessee players on court now. That Tennessee match officially scheduled for 2 p.m. Worth noting, despite originally being on the lineup sheet, Adam Walton scratched from today's match. I know he's nursing a few little injuries, some nicks, some bruises, and of course for the senior, God knows he's put enough matches on his body. That was me giving my fist pump, if you saw it too, Coach Schachterly. He and the Waves have arrived as well. We see both teams on site here. We still got one more to go, though, in our opening match. Right now, it's freshman Hugo Hashimoto. 2-1 break lead in the third set over sophomore Joshua Lapadat for Kentucky. That's a little better. That is a little bit better from Joshua Lapadat. And even beyond the execution of that passing shot, just the energy, a fist pump to assistant coach Matt, a fist pump to his sideline that seems to be picking up the energy slowly but surely here in this third set. 2 break chances to get us back on serve. Goes Joshua Lapadat of Kentucky. Deuce point coming up. confab. They've decided ad side for this deuce point. That is a very, very effective return +1 from Joshua Lapadat. And just like that, final little bit of momentum goes the way of the Wildcat here on court number 3. You see, again, Coach Matt Gordon just trying to get Josh to buy into that idea, keep playing attacking tennis, keep moving forward. Even if you lose a point or two on an error, just play on your terms. Nothing you can do there, though. There's the freshman. Serve. And that's been the move for him. Get that serve into the backhand of Hashimoto. If Hashimoto gets a clean look at your forehand, a lot of trouble there. Yeah. You could say this about a lot of different players, but Lapadat's just it's a completely different game when he's able to land that first serve, be on his front foot. I wouldn't describe him as poor out of the corners. I'd just describe him as a little limited. You know what you're going to get when you're on that rally ball. He's able to be on his front foot. He's dictating, he's swinging freely. Just kidding. Lapadat's excellent in the outer thirds of the court. Did I mention that before? That lefty, short angle, passing shot. Just, that's what it's all about, folks. 40-30 here. He tries to work a little two-game swing his way. That's a brilliant service game for Joshua Lapadat. Sophomore Wildcat holds 4-3-2. We're back on serve here on court number 3. And some of the results we've seen thus far today. Alex Kotzen, third-year player, for Columbia, former blue chip recruit. Really impressive 6-2, 6-3 victory over 2021 All-American Gabriel Diallo. For the Lions, it was also 3 double set victories out of the 4, plus a win from Rocco Horvat, excuse me. Sophomore in his first week on the Columbia campus after all of last year's regulations, delivers a first win in his first week, 6-2, 6-3 over Kentucky's LeBlanc. Speaking of Kentucky, they have gotten on the board here in singles. In particular was Old Dominion transfer Francois Musatelli. 6-3 first set he takes before Finkelstein of Columbia forced to retire. You also got a victory at the number 4 position, Ohio State transfer J.J. Mercer, knocking off Columbia's Ishan Ravichandar. I thought of all of the matches we've seen thus far today, that was the one that was most significant to me because, yes, Zemmel at 5 singles for Kentucky knocks off Austin Huang at 5, 7-6, 6-1. But to be frank, I just didn't think it was Huang's best experience. Huang's best match, of course, Huang, the senior. We know what that's a known commodity. You know what you're getting from his tennis. Give him some time to find his sea legs here. To me, the one that was so noticeable is the way J.J. Mercer just took it to Ravichandar. That match was on his terms. And of course, for his entire college career, there have been those around Columbus clamoring to see him get into the doubles lineup with former junior partner Robbie Cash, clamoring to see him get a shot 5-6 singles. I think he could get that shot for the Wildcats this season if he can just solidify the bottom parts of their lineup. Well, now you're in trouble. Now the rest of the country is put on notice. And Lapadat's got the momentum now. Love 30 here in the Hashimoto game, of course. Mentioned this fact a couple of times. Hashimoto, one of 8 players on Columbia's roster playing their first season of tennis. Now, that doesn't mean they have 8 freshmen, but again, they were one of the schools. No tennis team in 2021 because of COVID. As such, first look for coaches Howie Endelman, Rich Bonfiglio. What do those coaches choose to do in their very first week? Travel down here, see their team tested. Love that decision. I think we've seen it pay dividends thus far. But all of a sudden, Lapadat, 4 break points for a 4-2 lead. There it is. And you could tell something clicked. He's just taking a more aggressive posture. Been inside the baseline, be the one dictating the play here. And I have to say, I do like the fact, as dangerous as Hashimoto is I would argue 2 years from now, Hashimoto a little bit more dynamic in the outer thirds, perhaps. You like him then? Right now, that +1 tennis of Lapadat being executed to a T these past 3 games. He now takes a 4-2 break lead. On court number 3, our final match. And again, coming up 2 p.m. start time for Tennessee Pepperdine. Pretty sure they're going to start then regardless of what time this match ends, assuming it does end by 2. To 10 p.m. Excuse me. Official word. 2:10 p.m. start for Tennessee Pepperdine. There we go. Finally starting to hear a little bit of smack talk, a little bit of encouragement from these teammates. I hear all day Lape, which is quite the nickname for Lapadot, but I don't hate that. All day Lape. Now up 40 loves. He looks to consolidate, take that 5-2 lead. Yeah, that's much better. And again, you've got sophomore in Lapadot taking on the freshman in Huang. It's worth in Hashimoto, excuse me. You look for Lapadot. I mentioned it last season. He did get some match play under his belt, 6-9 overall in singles during the dual match portion of the year. Of course, that was his first on campus. Was 5-1 in the fall. 6-1, 162 out of London, Ontario. Interesting. You see there again. Perhaps you can see it in the near side of your corner of your camera. Coaches, it's assistant Matt Gordon, volunteer assistant Peter Cobelt, standing on that baseline. Meanwhile, assistant coach Rich Bonifiglio talking to his freshman, Hashimoto. Yeah. And this is where you can also tell a little bit freshman's starting to lose his legs. That'll happen to you. This match started at 12 o'clock, 10 o'clock with the doubles. Let's assume they were hitting for an hour before then. That means it's been 4.5 hours of consistent focus for both of these players. And you see right now in this moment, it's Lapadot doing a better job of maintaining that focus, maintaining his energy level, his execution. Of course, that helps. When you have a year of college under your belt, you are just going to be a little bit better at these things. But Lapadot now 2 points away from, I suppose, concluding the outdoor portion of this match. Or whatever it is we're calling it, hidden duel. It's a great get. That ball sails long from Lapadot. Good wheels, good intention, poor execution. Actually, no, it wasn't poor execution. That was just good execution from Hashimoto. I apologize. Nevertheless, 15-30 now.
Sorry, bro.
Game point here for Hashimoto to stay alive, 3-5. Yeah. Respectfully, I think Hashimoto's cooked. Again, heck of an effort for the freshman. Now you've got quintuple threat, game point, break point, set point, I guess deuce point, game point, break point, set point, match point for Joshua Lapadat of Kentucky. That's the sort of error, if you're head coach Matt Gordon, and knowing him like I do, I promise you when they go through the film or practice on Monday, that's a 10 push-up error. You can't do that. 5-2, deuce. You get a clean look at a return, and you're going to send it sailing like that. Again, that's an overreaction. He's still up 5-3, very much in control, but that's what this weekend's about. That repetition right there. You can't do that. You have a match point, deuce point like that. You don't have to win the point, but don't lose it like that, right? That's the lesson these coaches are trying to teach their players here in this opening weekend. Of course, all of that is forgiven. Lapadat to get over the finish line here if he's able to hold. He's serving now 5-3 near side of your court. Now all of a sudden it's love 15. Again, this is as subdued as I have ever seen a Kentucky sideline, and that is due to the absence. There's no Millen Hurrion, the fifth year, who unequivocally one of the leaders on the roster. There is no Draxel here, who, with every waking breath, just, breathes out passion each and every day. That's much better. You can see the encouragement coming from Coach Gordon, saying, stay forward, stay pressing. You can do this. No breaking news here. As the Big 12 makes their announcements, they're bringing in Houston, they're bringing in Cincinnati, bringing in BYU and UCF. Of course, for UCF men's tennis head coach John Roddick, means left Oklahoma, which was a Big 10 school. They're out of Big 12. They're out of the Big 12. He's in. Nevertheless, you know who's in the winner's circle? Joshua Lapadat earns a 3-set win over talented Columbia freshman Hugo Hashimoto. Ladies and gentlemen, joined by the one and only walking by me. We'll say that Parson Amati in the building. That means it's my time to go say hello. But again, that is your opening match. You get 3 doubles wins, 2 singles wins for the Columbia Lions, 1 doubles win, 4 singles victory for the Kentucky Wildcats. That's exactly the sort of repetitions we are looking for here at the Knoxville Showdown. Find our sea legs, find our form so that when the team dual match start comes January, certainly we will get to see the best tennis. But again, that's match number 1 of the day. Match number 2 coming up next. We've got our host, Tennessee, taking on Pepperdine. We hope you all will join us for that match in a little bit. But for now, I'm Alex Gruskin. You have been watching the 2021 Knoxville Showdown.